This video is sponsored by my Twitter account. If you want to see my bad hockey takes as the game is going on, follow me there. Also, like in the past, today's video is a longer one. I've segmented it up. If you want to skip around, look at the timestamps on screen right now. Wake up, babe. New Canada Heritage moment just dropped.
Oh my God, look at that.
She's loaded, boys. You gotta get out of here. It's full of explosives.
For real though, the Canada-Slovakia game just ended with one of the most incredible World Junior goals in recent memory, with Bedard in 3-on-3 overtime undressing 3 Slovakian players, deking the goalie and slotting it home. But how did the game get there? Let's do the recap. Afterwards, I'll talk about the rest of the action for today generally. Alright, so going into this game, Canada was definitely favorites. I had them winning in my bracket, but I knew that Slovakia would not be a pushover. And yeah, they took this to overtime, so one bounce and this could have went either way. This to me was really a combination of Slovakia playing a great team game, their goalie, Guyan, having an incredible individual performance, and Canada falling apart in several key areas. First of all, Canada's offense, in my opinion, wasn't the problem. They ran into a hot goalie. According to Jay Fresh Hockey, and I'll link his post down below, if you look at expected goals, which is an advanced stat looking at shot selection, shot danger, etc., for 5-on-5 only, Canada had an expected goals of 6. They only ended up scoring 2. Saving 4 goals above expected is very impressive. And again, that's only 5-on-5. Canada, however, did not seem responsible with the puck. It reminded me a lot of their game against Czechia. And honestly, I felt like Bedard was one of the prime culprits here. I started getting a bit uncomfortable with his play in the later bits of the second period and especially the third. He was way too casual with the puck and he was losing it. That led directly to 1 goal, but he also lost it off the blue line earlier, and I was honestly wondering whether the coach would pull his minutes back if Canada went into the last few minutes with only a 1-goal lead. It wasn't just him, however, and it wasn't just the forwards. Canada had a bunch of defensive breakdowns in the neutral zone in their end, and we'll see that as we go through the actual goals. But the culprit here was also not Canada's goaltending. Milic had a good game, I thought, including 3 really incredible saves near the end. But let's go to the first. And 7 minutes in, Bedard scored, taking sole possession of the Canadian record for points and goals in both the single tournament and overall. There's been a lot of talk about how good Bedard will actually be in the NHL, and while I do have some concerns about his size, his ability to actually get the puck, and how his play will translate when playing against men, he's dominating the World Juniors to a level we didn't see with McDavid, for example. Anyway, this game would get chippy. We did see Bedard get into it with Nemec. The Slovakians were really letting their cross checks fly, and in the second, Canada would score 5 minutes into the period to go up 2-0 on the power play. Here, I still didn't feel great. Canada was getting offensive chances, but didn't look great defensively, and Slovakia would score on a redirection with 13 left in the second period. Canada would get their 2-goal lead back just a couple of minutes later off a weird Slovakian breakdown on the blue line, leading to an odd man rush, but Slovakia would restore the 1-goal deficit when Bedard had just a terrible giveaway on the blue line. And his effort afterward was even worse in my opinion. First of all, a little too casual even when he gets the puck. When he's skating back, this slide is like the worst decision you can make. This is like something you do on NHL Be a Pro when you don't want to play defense. If he stays on his feet, he can stand in front of the net and maybe deny that pass right to the slot. Anyway, the third period was insane. Both sides got great chances, with Canada getting bailed out first by their goaltender, then their defenseman Hines. Nemec, however, would tie it on another really bad defensive breakdown. As they pointed out on the broadcast here, there was no reason for the player in front of Canada's net to leave his man. You've got 2 guys chasing the puck carrier behind the net. That's just a recipe for disaster. With the game tied in the period winding down, Bedard got several amazing chances to take the lead, but just couldn't finish, and it would go to overtime. Before that, Nemec would take an awful cross-checking penalty, but Canada wasn't able to capitalize in both regular time or overtime. We did, however, have an amazing chance from right where it seems like he squeaked one through the goalie, but it hit the crossbar. In OT, Milic had a beautiful toe save, then glove save, and the Bedard show began. Now, I was kind of concerned again, because not only is it winner-take-all overtime, but Bedard was still playing very loose and very open with the puck. He also took some extremely long shifts. I think his first was probably about 3 minutes. On his goal, I wanted him off, but he didn't want to go off. He turned on the Be a Pro mode again, and with half of the overtime over, he deked 3 Slovakian players players, the goaltender, and slotted it home. I mean, it had to be Bedard. Defensive issues notwithstanding, he was really buzzing all game. He seemed more goal-focused than assist-focused also, but I gotta say, this really felt like one of those situations that Canadian hockey fans are familiar with, where, especially in the World Juniors, a hard-working team and an incredible goalie ends their run early. Guyan, what a performance. The final shots were 56-26. As I said, he performed way above expected. This game probably shouldn't have been so close, but what a legend. And the Slovakians as well. They were crushed by the loss. This meant a lot to them. They've got to hold their heads high because they played a great game. I wish I was at the game because the reaction must have been incredible. And with that, we have the first round of the World Junior playoffs over. And so far, my bracket is perfect. Let me know how yours is below. Just to recap, Czechia dismantled Switzerland quite easily, 9-1. The US did the same to Germany, 11-1. The Finland-Sweden game, however, was an absolute classic. Finland outplayed Sweden pretty badly in my opinion, especially the first, but by the third it was tied up. And these Sweden-Finland games, this classic rivalry, I swear it always ends with a 1-goal win. Finland scored 4 minutes into the period. I thought it might be over, but Sweden managed to tie it up with 3.5 minutes left. However, Sweden took a bad penalty with less than 2 minutes left. I thought it might be over, but short-handed, they got the go-ahead goal. A beautiful short-handed goal where the Finnish defenders just looked bad, and that was the end of it, really. The other two games, not a whole lot notable there, other than that Switzerland scored the first goal in like 10 seconds. Shocking Czechia. I only half watched that game afterwards because the Czechs just came back so hard. They look great. But the stage is now set for the semi-finals. The games are on Wednesday. The first one will be Czechia-Sweden. In my bracket, I predicted that Czechia would win that one. Especially after watching today's Finland-Sweden game, I'm still going to hold by that. I think it's going to be, let's say, 5-2. Not super close. Then we have the Canada-US game. Now, I still think Canada will win, and I'm still not sure how tight this game will be. Honestly, I haven't got to watch as much of the US as I would have wanted. Obviously, they're offensively gifted. They're going to be feeling confident after putting up 11 against Germany, but also Germany is nowhere near the team that Slovakia is. So yeah, I think Canada will win this one. I'm also predicting that they'll score 5, but they'll only win 5-3. Not an empty netter on that last one. All right, you can click off if you want now, but before we leave, I do have a complaint. So I live in Halifax. I've been trying to go to as many of these games as possible. Couldn't get to this one. Obviously, really wanted to go to the semifinals, and I was like, well, is Canada going to get the late or the early game? I suspected late because that's what Canada usually gets. However, up until today, even after the game, before the brackets actually updated, they had the following about scheduling. Ignore my crappy highlight. I just did this for my own notes. I was going to send it to one of my buddies. The host, if qualified or otherwise the best ranked semi-finalist, according to the before mentioned criteria, shall play the early game. So according to this, if Canada made it through, they were supposed to play the early game. So I bought tickets to that, and now lo and behold, the Canada-US game for some reason is now the late one. So that's a little frustrating, and they also removed that bit off their website when the bracket updated. But whatever, I'll probably just watch from home. If you do have tickets that you're looking to sell, and don't just sell it to me because you like my channel, only sell it to me if you're going to sell it anyways, you can reach out to me on Twitter. I also had a couple people DM me offering to give me money for tickets, and listen, while I do really appreciate that, hockey tickets are a total luxury. I don't need to solicit funds from you guys for that. I can cover the games just as well, probably better at home because I won't be drinking. So again, thank you, but it's all good. Anyway, this is the longest video in the channel's history. I hope you enjoyed it, but with that being said, I'll see you after the semis and NHL content before that.